Hi, this is Jessica with Dining Traveler, and this is episode 5 of the Dining Traveler cooking series. Welcome in mijn koeken. Welcome to my kitchen in Dutch, because we are going to Holland. We are going to make one of my favorite Dutch specialties, which is oliebollen. And I have a very special person that's teaching me how to make them, my husband Martin, who is originally from Rotterdam, and he can tell us a little bit more about the oliebollen.
Yeah, oliebollen are basically Dutch donuts, what they call them, Dutch donuts, and that's where the American ring-shaped donut finds its origin in, and they're specifically a treat for New Year's Eve. So we make them on New Year's Eve. My parents used to make them on the last day of the year, and you eat them with a little bit of confectioner sugar on top, glass of champagne, and that's how you ring in the new year.
So we're gonna use Martin's family's recipe. So this has been for how long in your family? Several generations?
No, not that, but it must have been 75 years.
75 years, so with Oma, your Oma starting it, your grandma. And it's a quite simple recipe. It's flour, sugar, eggs, yeast, butter, milk, and some raisins.
And the raisins for the filling, yeah. Some people like to substitute the milk for buttermilk, or buttermilk for the, we use regular milk, but you can use buttermilk. Some people like to add some lemon zest. We're gonna do without the lemon zest, pretty straightforward. If you wanna make it extra special, you can soak the raisins in some rum, but we're gonna do it without the rum.
How come we're not doing that?
I know, because we want to
I feel robbed.
It's midday. It's midday in May during Corona.
So we're gonna give you guys both measurements, the European measurements and also the American style measurements. But one of the things that I do suggest, if you don't have yet, is a digital food scale. It's really changed my life when it comes to baking, and especially baking bread and those like yeast type products, you know, donuts, bagels. It really makes a difference getting those exact measurements in. So the first step that we're gonna do is prep the yeast.
But you want to activate it a little bit by putting it in a little bit of lukewarm milk, just a little bit of milk. Mix it together, make it into a little, almost like a sauce. And then you put in the sugar, 40 grams of melted butter, the 2 egg yolks, and you mix those together.
So we want to mix it first with a spatula before we turn on the mixer.
You can do it with the mixer, but you know, this is a bit more, it's a lot of flour, so you want to just do that gently, mix it nicely in, so don't get it too doughy. And then you can add the salt. Again, the whole idea is that you don't get the yeast in contact with the salt, because that's going to kill the yeast.
So now we're going to mix the dough, and we're going to do it in the kitchen mixer. I'm going to use a dough hook. But if you don't have a KitchenAid mixer or anything like that, you can also use a hand mixer, right?
Hand mixer, and actually, come to think of it, what my parents used to do is just get a really big bowl and just do it by hand, and just mix it with a spatula and really give it a good mix. But that is very labor intense, and you need to do it for like 15 minutes to really get all the air in, make sure that's a nice airy mixture. So before turning on the mixer, make sure that once it's running, you gradually add all the milk, and very slowly let it add and come to a nice mixture.
If it still looks a bit lumpy with the hook, we can always use a paddle attachment too. Once the batter is done, we are going to cover it with a damp cloth, and we are going to put it in the warmest place in your house. Martin's parents usually do it next to a radiator. Our kitchen, because we're baking all the time, is quite warm. So for now, we're just going to put it in the microwave. Obviously, the microwave is turned off. We're going to let it prove for an hour. So we are going to get this out of the microwave for the rise. And this is the moment of truth. Da 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 da.
So what you want to do is gently put the filling, and obviously it needs to be distributed throughout the, you can tell that, whoop, there it goes. but you need to distribute the filling nicely through the.
So you want to fold it.
More. Yeah. You need to fold it nicely a little bit, but don't use a lot of force because you want to keep as much air in there. But look at all the strings. Very nice, very nice, very nice. And the recipe calls for a whole lot of raisins, so if you want to use less, then by all means. You can actually buy them without any filling at all. The fun thing is that was always a little bit of not a contest, but if you try somebody else's, personally my personal favorite are obviously my parents' oliebollen. They were just fantastic. But if you then go to visit family or my grandparents and you try their oliebollen, there's always like, you know, you're comparing like, how do these hold up against my parents? I would always say my parents' ones are the best.
And you were saying that also in Holland they do, a newspaper does this contest, like the best oliebollen in the country.
Yeah, I think they stopped doing that because, but for the longest time, yeah, they had a contest. Yeah.
People get into fights and stuff. Or?
No, because the number last was always very upset that you know, they got bad press. Mm-hmm. But that was the thing, and the number one baker, obviously, he sold out.
So now we're gonna do the second rise with the raisins, and that's gonna be around 20 to 30 minutes?
Yeah, you wanna let that air get back into the batter.
Okay. Now we're gonna go to the fun part, the frying. And we want to get the oil really, really hot. So you want a deep pan. We're gonna use our Le Creuset, and you want enough oil that is gonna cover the whole donut. And the oil has to be very hot, so 180 degrees centigrade, which is around 360 degrees Fahrenheit. Just use a thermometer. If you don't have a thermometer, I would just put like a little bit of the batter in to see if it starts frying right away. If not, just give it a few more minutes, but just really, really hot oil.
Yeah, so it's really important to get the oil really hot, otherwise if the oil is not hot enough, the oliebol is going to suck itself full of oil and you're going to end up with a really greasy oliebol.
And we don't want that. No.
And this is in Fahrenheit, and we see the numbers. There we go up and up and up and up. This should be somewhere around 360. This is perfect. We can even lower it a little bit. There you go, perfect. It's hot enough.
Okay, so let's do this.
So the first thing that I'm going to do is take 2 spoons, and you can also use people use an ice scooper. Ice scooper to get nice round oliebollen, or just regular spoons like myself. I'm just gonna dunk them into the hot oil really quick. First of all, to heat them up a little bit and make the spoons all nice and greasy so that the batter will come off the spoon easier.
That's a nice trick.
Here we go, this is the first run.
And you wanna fry like?
Basically, honestly, I mean, it needs to be a couple of minutes, but I go by color. If they are nice, and you'll notice, so get them off the spoon, boom. And don't worry if they're not perfectly round, they will always look like they have little tentacles and whatnot. It doesn't matter. We just want a couple of minutes, but you can tell that this one already over here, you flip it over, look, nice and brown. Put them on a plate with some paper towel to absorb any excess fat, grease.
I think
That's
that this
nice.
is one of the things that Dutch people and Puerto Rican people have in common, that we both really love fried foods.
Unhealthy foods?
Yeah, this is how we bonded.
And dunk it in, and then use the other spoon to, yes, there you go. Boom. Very nice. Up.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's, you see, that's great.
Okay.
And then pop it in there like that. Yes.
Yes.
Here we have our beautiful oliebol, and in the Netherlands you'd buy a drum with the powder sugar, but look at that. Happy New Year. All right.
Let's eat.
Let's eat.
Do you remember what we say when we eat?
In Nederlands, eet.
Smakelijk.
Eet
Eet
smakelijk.
smakelijk. Here's your oliebol. Ooh,
Ooh.
it is really hot. Take a little bite.
Yummy sugar.
Yummy sugar. I was a little afraid that she would get burned. So this is how the Van Dops do.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. No,
Oliebollen.
Oliebollen. Is it yummy, Luke? Can mommy try some?
Ooh.
But not a lot.
Mmm. If you guys have any suggestions or questions, please add them in the comments. See you guys later. Cutscenes.
Bye.